Today we're diving deep into one of the most intense and emotional finales we've seen on TV this year, Squid Game Season 3. This is your full ending explained, so grab snack, sit back, and get ready for spoilers because we're going through everything from the major twists and sacrifices to the surprising final scene and what it could mean for the future of the franchise. Let's get into it. Season 3 picks up right after the events of Season 2, and we've had Gi-hun completely broken. His plans to bring down the games from the inside have failed, and now he's once again pulled back into the nightmare. But this time it's different. The games are darker, more complex, and more manipulative than ever. Gi-hun isn't just fighting for survival, he's protecting something, or rather someone. Early in the season, we meet Jiune, pregnant contestant who shockingly gives birth during one of the rounds. In deeply cruel move by the VIPs, the newborn baby, later referred to as Player 222, is registered as contestant in the games. Yes, you heard that right. Baby competing in Squid Game. The moral and emotional stakes skyrocket from that moment on. By the time we get to the final 2 episodes, we're left with 3 standing. Gi-hun, the crypto-obsessed Myung-ji, who turns out to be the baby's father and the infant herself. The final game is brand new design called Sky Squid Game, and it's just as brutal as it sounds. Players stand atop 3 massive towers shaped like the traditional circle, square, and triangle from the original Squid Game logo. But first off, thank you so much for choosing to watch this video. It truly means the world to us. We're on a journey to reach our first 100,000 subscribers, and your support can help make that dream come true. Please consider hitting that subscribe button and joining our community. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you, and please stay happy, safe, and healthy wherever you are in the world. To win, they must physically push each other off the platforms. The game is monitored by motion sensors and pressure pads, meaning only official pushes count toward elimination. And here's the catch. Death outside of an official round doesn't remove you from the game, which adds this terrifying layer of strategy where everyone's always on edge trying to survive not just the rules but the loopholes. Gi-hun is trying to do the impossible, keep the baby alive without playing the game the way it's designed. Meanwhile, Yoon-ji is spiraling, torn between wanting to protect his daughter and succumbing to the same selfish hunger that brought him into the games in the first place. In one of the season's most gut-wrenching scenes, Yoon-ji confronts Gi-hun and accuses him of trying to steal his legacy. There's fight, and it ends with Gi-hun overpowering Yoon-ji only to make a shocking decision. He doesn't kill him. Instead, Gi-hun himself off the tower, sacrificing his own life to protect the baby and essentially making her the winner by default. As he falls, he begins a sentence that haunts fans across the internet. We are not horses, we are humans, and humans are, he never finishes. That incomplete thought becomes the emotional thesis of the entire season. It's a powerful callback to the original Squid Game where players were treated like expendable animals for the entertainment of the rich. Gi-hun's death is the culmination of his arc. From selfish gambler to selfless protector, and it breaks us. After Gi-hun's death, the frontman activates the island's self-destruct sequence. Chaos erupts. We get series of fast-paced shots showing the remaining staff scrambling to escape, contestants trying to survive, and Junha, In-ha's brother, finally reappearing. Yes, he survived being shot in Season 1. Not only that, he manages to get the baby out of the collapsing game compound just seconds before the entire structure collapses. But here's where things get really interesting. In post-credits scene, we see In-ha, the front man, sitting in sidecar in Los Angeles, where he sees woman dressed in business suit, who slaps man across the face with the familiar red envelope. That woman, none other than Cate Blanchett in wild and unexpected cameo. The implication is crystal clear. The Squid Game has gone global, and this might not be the end. Rumors are already swirling about an American-based spin-off, and this scene seems to lay the groundwork. Now let's talk about what it all means. Gi-hun's final act isn't just about protecting an innocent life, it's about rejecting the system entirely. Unlike in Season 1, where he took the money and left quietly, this time he chooses death over participation. He's sending message not just to the VIPs, but to the audience. That sacrifice, that refusal to play by the rules, becomes the ultimate rebellion. Some fans feel it's a satisfying end, especially after 2 seasons of Gi-hun trying and failing to dismantle the system. Others think his death robs the story of its potential for change, but maybe that's the point. A real systemic change isn't always neat or heroic. It's messy, painful, and often costs everything. Still, it's not all bleak. The baby survives, the truth gets out, and the people who suffered are finally getting some form of closure. Even if the games continue globally, the illusion of secrecy is shattered. And in a world as corrupt as the one Squid Game portrays, that might be the only real victory. So that's it. Squid Game Season 3 ends with sacrifice, truth, and glimmer of hope. Gi-hun is gone, but what he stood for remains. The question now is, where does the franchise go from here? Will we get an American Squid Game? Will the baby grow up and return? And will the front man ever face justice? After finishing Squid Game Season 3, I sat in silence for a long time. This show didn't just entertain me, it shook something deep in me. It made me reflect on how we live, how we treat each other, and what we choose to value when everything is on the line. At its core, Squid Game has always been more than a thriller. It is a social experiment mirrored to our world, and this final season more than ever forced me to ask some uncomfortable but necessary questions. The first lesson I took away is how easy it is to lose our humanity when systems are designed to make us compete. Whether we are talking about capitalism, school, careers, or even social media, it often feels like we are all in one big game. We are pushed to be others, not support them. The games in the show are exaggerated, yes, but they echo the way real life can sometimes feel. We are rewarded for stepping over others, for winning at any cost, and for focusing on survival rather than empathy. What Gi-hun does in the end is so powerful because he chooses the opposite. He refuses to play. He gives up the prize so someone innocent can live. That reminded me that we always have a choice. Even in a system built to divide us, we can choose kindness, we can choose sacrifice, and that might be the bravest thing we can do. The second thing I realized is that silence allows injustice to grow. In the show, the games survive because no one speaks out. People go missing, die, and are forgotten. The world outside keeps moving. That silence is what keeps the system alive. And again, that connects directly to real life. So many people struggle in silence every day, financially, emotionally, socially, and the rest of us either don't notice or feel too powerless to help. But the truth is, our silence keeps the suffering going. Whether it is about poverty, inequality, or even just someone being mistreated in front of us, saying nothing is form of consent. Watching characters like Know You'll Risk Everything to expose the truth reminded me how important it is to speak up even when it is scary. Sometimes doing right thing means risking comfort, as something I think we all can work on. Another major takeaway for me was how trauma can reshape a person's values. Gi-hun goes from being man obsessed with money and revenge to someone willing to die for baby he just met. That kind of growth hit me hard. It made me think about how easy it is to define ourselves by the worst things that happen to us. But pain does not have to harden us. It can wake us up. It can make us softer in the right ways. Seeing characters like Jiune, who everything and still chose to save the baby, reminded me that healing is not always about fixing the past. Sometimes it is about building something better moving forward. Forgiveness, compassion, second chances. These are the real victories. The money in the game is just distraction. The real win is holding onto your soul. Season 3 also made me think about the idea of inherited pain. Yoonji's role in the show was heartbreaking because, as much as we hate it, choices, you could see the cycle he was trapped in. He believed money was the only way to protect his child, even if it meant destroying himself in the process. That belief isn't just fictional. Many people in the real world are taught that money equals safety and that survival matters more than morality. We inherit that mindset from parents, from society, from years of being told we are only worth what we can produce. But we need to break that cycle. Protection meant showing your children how to be kind. What if success was about being present, not powerful? Yoonji failed in the end, but his failure gave Gi-hun chance to show a different path.